Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to go through the process of creating any kind of language test, or let's say an interactive language test on Outgrow. So the process is very simple, and I'm going to start with an interactive French language test, but then we can go ahead and see how you could make an interactive test for any language at all. So once you're in your Outgrow dashboard, you just head to the graded quiz section right here, and then you click on select a template. I mean, of course, you can start from scratch on any of these templates, but since we already have, currently there's just one test here, but we have like a bunch of templates that are still being made. So in the end, there'll be like 16 or 17 different language tests in this section, so you can use any of those. So there are two options. First, you can obviously go ahead and preview the template to make sure this is the one that you want to use. So you can just go around and play with it. As you can see, every time you click on an answer, it shows you whether it's correct or incorrect. And this is, you can also divide your test into sections. So as you can see, this is section 1 of 5. And once someone is done with the section, they can go ahead next. And then, you can go to the second section and answer those, and so on and so forth. As you can see, it's pretty simple to get a hang of. And I'm just gonna go through the whole test just to show you the all the options that are available. So as you can see, you can also insert pictures if you want. And once that is done, this is a reading comprehension section, so obviously someone can read this, and then based on this, questions can be asked. And you can also have like multiple answers questions where you can pick more than one answer if you want, and so on and so forth. And once all of this is done, it'll take you to the lead generation section, or of course, in case of the exam taker, I mean, like, I think it's better if you are using this for a language school to better, it's better to have this at this section in the beginning. My name is, and you just put a name and email, and then it finally shows you the result. So I guess if you want to have a lead generation form after the questions, that's more like something you'll have on like a website when you're displaying your test. But when you are actually giving tests to people who are already members of the school, you can have the lead generation at the beginning. And anyway, this test finally gives you a score out of 20, and there's an option to lead the user somewhere else from here, and all the Facebook share options to share the scores or to follow your company on Twitter or like it on Facebook. So that's the preview, and from here you can directly go to use layout. So what this option will do is open it up in your builder, but you could have also done that directly by clicking on use template here. So once you are in the builder, as you can see, the builder already, every time you enter, already directs you to the few essential things that you need to keep in mind. And there's just 4 essential things: that the page can be edited using this icon. The lead generation can be shifted around the entire quiz and put in whatever position you want to put it in using this option. And finally, the layout settings with this little pencil. And the questions can be added from here. So these are the 4 things to keep in mind. And if you ever get lost, you can always go to the question mark here. And obviously, the 5th thing to keep in mind is that you always publish the test. If it's not published, it's not going to work. So the go live option helps you in publishing it. So once you're here, again, as I mentioned in a couple of other videos as well, the primary thing to keep in mind is this section here in the center, this little rectangle. If you scroll down, you can see all the pages of this test. And if you want to edit anything anywhere on these pages, just scroll down to that section. Say you wanted to go to section 3 and you wanted to edit this question. So you just click on it. What that'll do is it immediately on this side, it'll open up the editable section of the builder where you can actually edit this particular question. And then you can go ahead and make any changes that you want to the question title, to the type of question, whether it's single select or multi-select. And then you can add more options if you want, or delete the options if necessary. And in addition to that, you can also have like, icons, so that, it's just not like a piece of text in the options. You can have like different icons, whether you want to use these, really up to you, or you can have images as I've done in this question here. So, I mean, this is particularly useful for language tests. So you can actually have, for kids, it might really work to display images, and then based on those images, ask them to pick something in the question. So it's really up to you. Like one of the questions here was, this is the color yellow in in French. What are the word for yellow in French is? And then we had color black displayed here, and blue, and orange and yellow, and the person has to pick yellow out of those. So it's really up to you how you want to use all these options. As you can see, every time someone answers a question, it shows them correct. But if you want to give them a more detailed result, is also possible to in this feedback option, instead of just saying correct, you can say correct, and this is why it is correct, and you can go ahead and give an entire reason. You can just go and type it here, and it will show up. And similarly for incorrect, you can say this option that you've picked is incorrect, and the correct answer is this, and then you can go ahead and give a reason for it. So what this does is, obviously, it helps the user understand the educational value of this test, and it's not something just that's catered to, like, act like a just like a test, but it's also educational. And here you have an option of marking questions mandatory or not. So you can obviously have some optional questions, in some tests, either do section A or section B, up to you. So if you turn off this mandatory option, then you can actually have optional questions in the test. So that is that. If you want to change the display settings, as you can see, what we've done here is used some image that says something in French, which I don't know what it means, but anyway, you can just go to replace image and just upload new from your computer, or just use any of our presets here. So it's really up to you, and it doesn't really have to be a language test in particular that you're making. You could be making any kind of an experience, so you can go ahead and, like, add your own image. And that's that. If you want to remove the logo from here and put your own company's logo, just click on the logo. Again, like I said, click anywhere on the template and it'll guide you from where something can be changed. So if you want to change the logo, just click on the logo, and you'd see this little pop-up open, and you can just upload your own company's logo here if necessary. So that's that. You can again change the test subtitle if you click on this. Oh, we're already in that section. So yeah, so this is where the title of the test goes, and this is where the subtitle goes. You can even change what the button says here. So you can say, get ready to get cracking at the test. Anything you want to type here, you can type that. Once all of this is done, the lead generation form, it already shows you whether you want to put it after the questions, or in the welcome screen, or before the results, or with the results. Sometimes it might be better to just, like, if it is for people in your school, like I just explained earlier, it's better to have it in the welcome screen, because you don't want them to, like, go halfway through the test and then abandon the test, and you don't know who it was. So because they never reached the end, and they never entered their details. So it's better to, like, put it in the welcome screen if it's like someone from your school. But if it's just a random test on your website, you can obviously keep it like after the question, so that you put lock before the results are displayed. And in the results itself, speaking of which, you can see here there's a variable added here. So you got a score of whatever the person scores out of 20. And then it gives you an assessment. So for this, what you have to do is you go to results. It's already been done in the templates based on a score of 20. So it's just saying, if the score is greater than or equal to 0 and is less than 10, then display this result. So it says you're just starting out, you need more training and practice to get there. Then if the score is greater than or equal to 10 and less than 15, then you say you have a fair amount of proficiency in French. And then finally, if the score is greater than or equal to 15 and less than or equal to 20, then you can say you seem to be a French language expert. Now, you can have all of this. Now, say you're a language school, and you can have a test like this to just test someone's proficiency before assigning them to a particular class in your school. So this could be like the default test on your website that kind of like shows them how good they are. And then the call to action can also be recommend me a particular class to join, and from this button it'll directly take your users to that particular class, and they can sign up there. So that's with the lead gen. And remember always to like turn on these Facebook widgets and everything, because if people could get a good score, then they might want to share that. And then once they share it on Facebook, more people might want to do it based on that. So just remember to turn these on. So once all of this is done, just go to the mobile view once and try to see if everything is displaying properly, because a lot of people just tend to take tests on the mobile. So it's better to make sure that this is optimized. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and like publish the test. But once you've published it as well, or even before you publish it, make sure you give the configure section. Once you publish it, it'll just show you this is the link, the live link, which you can use to copy and share with anyone. So in the configure section, like I was saying, you just click here. You can have a particular name for your test. So you can say, I don't know, Studium or whatever your language school is called, My Language School's French Test, or whatever it's called. And then again, you can customize the URL itself of the test so that you can say something that you think is appropriate. Make sure you turn on the allow search engines to index and allow search engines to follow, because that would allow them to follow your test and suggest it to people who are looking for French tests online or whatever test language you're using. And this just make sure you edit these. This is how it'll show up on, this is how Google search shows up, right? Google preview and a Facebook preview. This is how it'll show up on a Facebook preview. So try to add a catchy line here, or anything that you think is going to grab people's attention and here. So it'll just edit, and that's how it's going to display. If you want to feature an image on this little Facebook display that occurs here, perhaps your company's logo, for instance, then you can just upload it directly from here. So once that is done, you can go to email notifications, and you can turn this on. First of all, remember to turn this on and send an email from your company's default account to this email will go to anyone who enters their name in the lead generation and email, of course. So you enter your own company's email, then add a subject saying, here are your test results. Maybe you would want to join a beginner's level course. And then you can be like, hi, this is a variable for full name because they've already entered their names in the lead generation. So you can just like pick the variable from here. So it's hi, full name. So it will just display whatever the name of the user is on this. And then you can have a custom email that you can write here, and you can add any of the variables. So like, the answers to all these particular questions, all of this. So you can send them a complete score sheet if you want, and they can if you send it immediately, which it will do as soon as someone enters a lead gen, it's good, because then your users will feel that oh, you're actually very fast at doing stuff, that you managed to send them the results so fast. So try to do that. And what you can also do is have a notification to self. So you can send an email to the person who took the test, but you can also send an email to someone from your team, say the HR manager. So you can just enter the HR manager's email here, and then this is the account you'll be sending the email from, and you can just be like new lead, so you know that the person who's taking the test is interested in taking one of the courses, and so it'll send an email to the concerned department in your language school. So again, so you can have their name, email, everything listed in this, and the person who from your office who gets the email can later go ahead and follow up with these people. And if you want to export all this data from the test to any of these integrations that we have a partnership with, feel free to just click and configure, and you'll be able to just set that up in a pretty easy manner. So that's that. And once you've had a decent number of replies to your test, you can go to the analytics section and you can see all sorts of details. For instance, this is probably not showing because there is no data. I just like made this test, but you can see probably like here, you can see total visitors, total starts, the engagements that were made, and all that data. Let me just actually pull out a random experience where you can actually see data. So yeah, okay. So you can see the total number of people who visited the test, the total number of people who started it, because some people might have visited it and never clicked on anything. And then you can see conversion is basically every time someone enters an email, and then it gives you a percentage based on number of people who actually started. And again, you can see engagements, number of times users shared on social media or clicked through to your website. And it'll show you a detailed view, unique views and page views of the entire thing as, dates go by. So it'll be an entire graph that you can actually see. And then it'll also show you in which countries of the world was it accessed, the most. So, you can then go back and, add more customizations based on which part of the world is showing a lot of engagement with the experience. So you can customize it to that particular part, that particular country's needs, or that particular audience's needs. So it's really up to you. And again, it'll show you the devices. If a lot of people are using your test through a mobile, you might want to make it more optimized for mobile. So you can actually go ahead and, based on this data, make those changes. And similarly for traffic sources and what kind of browser they're using. So traffic sources, for instance, it'll show you where people accessing your test from. So is it coming directly from your website? Is it coming from a link someone posted on a Facebook group? It'll show you that. Or it'll show you, is it from some blog someone posted that link on? So it'll show you exactly where everyone is accessing your test from. And the browser, of course, will show you whether it's Chrome or Firefox or anything. So again, you can like go back and optimize your test based on optimize your test for a particular browser, considering what browser the people tend to use the most for your test. And again, here you'd see the total number of visits, and it'll show you the location engagement, questions answered, outcome, and where they visited from, visited on, source, redo, count. All of these details will be available. And then visits as different from leads would be basically everyone who entered their email at the end of the test would be counted as leads. And what you can do is export all of this data. Usually you'd like gather a huge amount of data, which you can very easily export using this function to your email ID, where it would end up as an Excel sheet, in a machine readable format, so you can then later use all that data in some other software if necessary, or give it for analysis to someone. So you can use all of that. So anyway, I'm going to go back to the test here. I'm also going to show you now another feature. So obviously this is made on one particular test template, and this test template only allows for one kind of question. That's like single select and multi-select. And you can have obviously images if you want and all that. But if you wanted to change the entire template, if you wanted to change, say you wanted to have other kinds of questions. Say you wanted to have, video questions, or if you wanted to have audio questions, listen to this audio and transcribe it. You can have all of that, but for that, currently we've on the Madrid template. You can obviously change the template to, say, the Chicago. And you click on use layout. So what it's doing, it's the entire test that you've made. It's now going to change it to the Chicago template, which supports more kinds of multimedia. In this layout, you can also have the entire background display as uh, with your image, because in the previous layout you just see the image on the right hand side, but in this layout you can have the whole background have an image. So for instance, if I use this image for the French proficiency test and then I added a tint, then you can see this image would show up on every single page of this test. And again, you can have, like, for instance, in this question, if I wanted to insert an image within the options, of course, but let's just say if I wanted to insert an image in the question. So if I wanted here there to be to be a question based on this image, so I'd just add an image, put this. There you go. So you could have a question based on an image and then have options asking the user to answer something about this image. So similarly, you can also have videos. So you click on this video option here, and then you can insert the video from YouTube or anywhere, and you just put the URL here and it'll directly show up here. And What it'll do is it'll you can have an audio clip here from YouTube, or you can have like a movie, and you'd be like, so what does this character say at this point in French? And then you can have all these options. So it's really up to you how you get this answered. That's about it. So if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment below in the video section, or you can always email us at questions@outgrow.co. Hope you had a nice time watching this video, and do subscribe to our channel for more marketing related updates. Thank you.